Thank you. Members of the board, members of the community, good evening. I want to start off by Whitney, if I can just address you professionally for a second with the extended team. Your professionalism and your mindset around working with some of our most vulnerable families in an asset-driven way is nothing short of incredible and inspiring. In fact, that was your comment, speaking to the families, about the families that you serve, that they inspire us. The data that you shared is sobering. I'm not a statistician, so I'm going to look at my statistician here. But when I think about the numbers that Whitney shared, having just over 950 students in transition or experiencing homelessness, and I think about our total student body, my math suggests that one student in every one of our classrooms is experiencing this crisis. One student in every classroom, in every school, is experiencing this crisis. Whitney talked about not just our students in this particular situation requiring structure and support, but I would also share that she amplified the importance of elevating students' voices so they could be heard, they could be seen, they can see themselves in their educational experiences. We all collectively know, and I'm looking at so many educators that are here in support of the work that's happening in this district, that our students are so smart and they're eloquent, and they don't just want to participate in their educational experiences, they want to be a part of defining what those educational experiences are for themselves. They want to have skin in the game. And what they share with me when I'm out in schools and they're sharing with you, I think that's what's inspiring from families, is they're not only looking for their education to be better for themselves, but they lack a whole lot of selfishness, because they're very interested in thinking of the student advisors that we just met with in our dinner session. They're interested in making it better for the generation of students that come behind them. I want to tell you a story about a 5th grade student that I met last week with Dr. Guile visiting Irish Elementary School. And I want to thank Principal Moser and her staff for providing both of us an incredible visit. But I had an opportunity to visit the 5th grade classroom of Miss Jimenez. And Bianca found Dr. Guile and myself. It was her moment to step into her voice, her leadership. Didn't ask who we were. She immediately came up to us and said, "Hey, I want to meet you and I want to show you something." And she took Dr. Guile, myself, and her principal outside of her classroom, and she wanted to share with us her journal. And what she was so proud of in this journal is that she was able to tell her story of the power of biliteracy, and how she was writing in English and how she was writing in Spanish, and she was very proud of her Mexican heritage, but also really proud that she had a singular goal of being an attorney to help other people in a bilingual environment, to make sure that they can be stronger advocates for themselves. She's in 5th grade. She had it all figured out, right, Dr. Goff? She talked about the importance of her parents being advocates for her, which allowed her to see her own strength. You think about many of our students who are experiencing transition or homelessness, who in some instances are with parents, other instances not. They're unaccompanied. And the challenges that provides those young people. I also am struck by how Bianca talked about her teacher being her coach. It wasn't her teacher. Her teacher, Ms. Jimenez, was her coach and encouraged her. And I'll close the story about Bianca talking about the power of when she realizes in her own educational experiences that she experiences adversity. The most beautiful thing, in my opinion, that she shared, of all of the beautiful things that she shared with all of us, was she was able to name as a 5th grader when she goes down a path of speaking negatively about herself. And it is the allies in her life, her coach, her teacher, her parents, the other people who surround and support her, her classmates, that not only help her identify that negative self-talk, but give her the courage as a 5th grader to know how to work through it and advocate and say, I need some help. And let that be okay, and there's no shame involved in that. That's the aspiration that we have as a school system. I'm reminded of this each time that I'm out in the district or the community visiting, and I have the privilege of sitting and working with various youth groups in the district and the greater community. And recently, Vice President Draper and myself heard from a group of students who are leaders in our county, and they were so radically honest. I don't know if you see radical candor and honesty being a trend with our students. They need to be heard right now. And these students and these young adults, they were no different. They wanted to be truth tellers and be really real about the experiences that they're having. And not only are they smart and eloquent, but they're paying attention to us. I want to remind us as a community that they're paying attention to not just what we're saying, but what we're doing. And they shared, like, as a system, what students want and that they need. They're let me slow down, I'm so excited. They're very clear in what they want and what they need from us. Whether it's speaking about literacy, whether it's speaking about mental health, whether it's speaking what it's going to take for them to graduate with options, for them to feel safe in our schools. And I want not just to use my position, but I want us to lean into this conversation with our young people as a community to reaffirm that our students cannot just be consulted, but they need to be empowered in the shaping of their educational experiences. That's not just through the strategic plan. Yes, that needs to be the baseline. But it's on an everyday basis of checking in with each other and the humanity that's at the center of our classrooms and how we engage. We need to continue to be reminded to listen to our young people. To that end, every year our district sends a connection survey. I'm very proud to be a part of a district that's interested in knowing whether our students feel connected to their school, to each other, to their passions. And a survey just went out to all of our families last week, I believe, for our students in grades 4 through 12. And through that survey, as I shared, we asked students, do they feel connected? And we need to know that data because it allows us to drill down by name. Do children and young adults have trusted adults? Do they feel connected to a purpose bigger than themselves in school? It allows us to begin to do tangible things above and beyond the academic experiences in the day to make sure people feel engaged. We have a lot of work to still do in that environment. Surveying you is a starting point, it's not the end game. But using that data to help drive system improvements is really, really important. We know that our students are more successful when they're connected. And I want to make sure that if you are a family member that you're looking in your inbox for your emails to make sure that you're aware of that survey and encouraging your young children and young adults to participate in that to make sure that we have the data to be able to use that effectively and efficiently. I also am really excited about tonight that while we're talking about all learners, we're really wanting to make sure that our youngest learners get off to an incredible start in our school system. And tonight you'll hear a little bit as a community in our Board of Education about our district's plans for implementing expanded preschool services in our community. We know that the need for preschool age care and education exceeds the options that are available, but we're making strategic decisions that we look forward to informing you tonight on our next big steps moving forward. I'm really excited about all of the advocates and educators here from Istone Elementary School to be able to show a sense of pride in that work. Your presence, as well as the work that you're doing in our schools each and every day, does not go unnoticed. I just want to say that. I'm really proud that you stand for a sense of belonging. I want one of your t-shirts. I'll pay for it. I also say, like, these experiences, whether I'm talking about Bianca at Irish or talking about the incredible teachers at Istone, or I'm talking about the incredible supports providing McKinney-Vento type supports for people who are experiencing transition, those things are happening in every sector of our school system. Went down to Timnath Middle School, High School. I think it's down, right, from where we are? Yeah, down. Went to their high school, the new middle school, high school. That school is like almost at capacity already. And I don't say that to like be exaggerative, but the amount of sense of pride that's existing in that community of driving enrollment. There's over 100 students more than what we projected. And our future lab is there. And I had an opportunity on a day, it just kind of happened to be unique and just a tremendous experience. I walked into our district's treble choir festival, which brought the various choirs from all of our high schools together for one full day where they not only get to engage and connect with each other, but they learn to sing beautifully with each other. It was angelic in so many different ways. And outside of the young adult experience of listening to our students sing, what impressed me most is watching our teachers and staff pay attention to each other. We have a choir instructor at Fort Collins High School. Her name is Caitlin Miles. She's one of a kind. Now, I didn't really know Caitlin very much before that day, but it didn't take her meeting me for me to learn that she was one of a kind. I was listening and paying attention to how all the other choir teachers across all of our other schools looked at her, paid attention to her, took notes around how she was conducting herself with our students. It was nothing short of incredible. I had an opportunity last week to witness fourth graders at Bamford Elementary under the leadership of Principal Paduska debate one another on whether they should have earlier start times or later start times. And I'm not trying to signal any chaos to the community, but our fourth graders want to say in that, and they had some really great evidence around how to have a great academic debate. And I'll close in this, I spent part of my afternoon before our board meeting today at Poudre Global Academy. One of the students we had a chance to meet as a part of our student advisors. You know, that is a hybrid virtual environment for all families who are interested in that type of modality for their students' learning. I spent time with their art teacher there today, who works at all three of our mountain schools and works at PGA 2 days a week, and was putting and showcasing student work and was talking about the incredible insights of how passionate students are to be able to express themselves in creative ways. I spoke to their physical education teacher, who thought it was really cool in a virtual environment that her first graders yesterday was really neat, that some moms and dads were actually exercising in their living rooms with their 6-year-old. And that was a part of their family routine because they had the capacity and the ability to do that. I had a chance to go into 8th grade social studies teacher, and I'm going to finish here because Erica Chardulo, and I'm so hopeful I didn't crush her last name. I have to be honest, in 26 years, she's one of the best teachers I've ever witnessed in my life. And the power of this teacher teaching 8th grade social studies was she understood the simplicity of doing things really deep and doing them really well. And the one teacher skill that I remember being taught at university that I saw her doing at an exemplar level is the power of orientation. She masterfully, without even recognizing it, always asked the teacher or the students in her class to orient themselves to their own thoughts. What are you thinking? She gave them some wait time to process. She didn't ask to express all people in the class, to express those thoughts and ideas with the people who are sitting to the left and sitting to the right. And so she's creating this courageous conversation. Now, some of our students, you may think in a hybrid or virtual environment, experience social anxiety. Not all, but some of them with a traditional school experience, this is a better modality for them. So in addition to them being asked to share their ideas with one another, if they were uncomfortable with that, she was asking them to type it into a technology system that was posted on a screen that was in real time. Your voice was being able to be seen, whether you were comfortable naming it by who you were or sharing it. She was figuring out every single way to orient people to have their voice stand out, not just for themselves, but with their class. And it was like lockstep. It was nothing short of just incredible, fascinating education happening in our backyard every single day. I continue to not just be proud, but I continue to be inspired and impressed by the work of our staff, our community, and there's a lot to accomplish still in this district and the community, but we're going to do it on the foundation of the great strength that already is in place. And for that, I thank you and I appreciate the time.